Good day and welcome to Crime in SA. Today's story takes us to Durban, in a city called Phoenix, and it all leads to Hillcrest, Mulwaney Cemetery, where the chilling events unfold. In April 2020, in the Durban suburb of Phoenix, a woman's sudden disappearance would expose the darkest side of love and obsession. Her name was Khulukazi Ndlovu, a 39-year-old woman described by her family as kind-hearted, ambitious, and deeply loved. For weeks, her name would echo through police stations, family WhatsApp groups, and social media posts. Few imagined that her story would end in the small, overgrown cemetery of Mulwaney, where her car, a Kia Picanto, was found burnt to ashes with a body inside. It would take months for investigators to confirm that those remains belonged to Khulukazi Ndlovu. And when they did, the prime suspect shocked everyone: her own husband, Sifiso Professor Ndlovu. Both Khulukazi and Sifiso worked at Transnet Bus Service, the company that operated Durban's municipal buses. Sifiso held a respected position as an inspector. Colleagues called him Professor, not just for his name, but for his calm, intelligent manner. Khulukazi worked in administration, quiet, meticulous, always polite. At first, they seemed the picture of a working-class couple building a stable life together. But behind closed doors, things were breaking down. By early 2020, their marriage was on the edge of collapse. Khulukazi had moved out of the family home in Phoenix, renting a small place nearby. According to court testimony, she had also applied for a protection order, a legal step that signaled deep fear and tension. Friends would later tell investigators that she was trying to rebuild her life, focusing on work, independence, and safety. In late April 2020, as South Africa was under strict COVID-19 lockdown, Khulukazi left her rented home in Phoenix for what seemed like a normal evening errand. She never returned. The next morning, she didn't show up for work at Transnet. Her colleagues called, texted, and waited. No response. Days later, police received a call about a burnt-out vehicle found at Mulwaney Cemetery, deep in a rural valley about an hour from Phoenix. The car was unrecognizable. Twisted metal, melted plastic, shattered glass. Inside, forensic teams found human remains burned beyond recognition. The license plate traced back to Khulukazi Ndlovu. It took 6 months of DNA analysis before the family received confirmation. The remains were hers. For her parents, those months were a blur of agony and uncertainty. Her father later told the court, "Every day we hoped she'd walk through the door. We prayed we were wrong." As the forensics continued, detectives from Durban's SAPS Serious and Violent Crimes Unit began examining Khulukazi's digital footprint. Her phone was off, but cell tower data told a story. Records showed that on the night she disappeared, her husband Sifiso's phone had pinged along the same route, from Phoenix through Pinetown toward Mulwaney, the exact area where the burnt car was later found. A car tracking device installed in his vehicle confirmed movement to the same coordinates. When questioned, Sifiso insisted he knew nothing. He said he had gone to sleep early and woken up to find his wife missing. He denied any involvement, but police soon learned that he had been seen driving late that night, accompanied by another man known only by the nickname Vibes. That alleged accomplice vanished shortly afterward, and though investigators searched, no official record shows that he was ever charged. By late 2020, Sifiso Professor Ndlovu was arrested and charged with murder, kidnapping and malicious damage to property. The case moved slowly through the Durban High Court. Lockdown restrictions, backlogs and forensic delays pushed the trial to 2023. By then, Khulukazi's family had still not held a funeral. Legally, the right to bury her rested with her husband, the very man accused of killing her. It was a bureaucratic nightmare that added unbearable pain to their loss. Inside the courtroom, the state described the murder as a cold, calculated act of control, a textbook case of femicide. The evidence was technical but devastating. Cell phone data placed Sifiso at key locations. Witnesses described seeing the couple arguing days before she disappeared, and the car tracking logs left little doubt. The accused's vehicle was near Molweni at the same time Khulukazi's Kia Picanto went up in flames. When the defense took the floor, Khulukazi Ndlovu maintained his innocence. He told the court he had fallen asleep around 9 p.m. and only woke the next morning to find her gone. He suggested that someone else, perhaps a jealous rival or an unknown third party, could have harmed her. But the judge rejected this version as improbable and inconsistent with the objective evidence. Throughout the trial, Khulukazi's parents sat in court, silent and composed. When her father finally gave his victim impact statement, his words gripped everyone in the room. He said, "My daughter's last moments play in my mind every night. I picture her trapped in that car, calling for help that never came. She helped others. She did not deserve this." The family spoke about how they had been unable to hold her funeral for nearly 3 years. Without burial, they felt they could not find peace. Her sister told reporters outside court, "Every time we think we can move on, the system drags us back. She deserves a proper goodbye." On the 20th of November 2023, the Durban High Court delivered its verdict. The judge found Sifiso Professor Ndlovu guilty on all charges: murder, kidnapping and malicious damage to property. In her ruling, she described the killing as a betrayal of trust and an act of ultimate cruelty. She said that Khulukazi had sought the court's protection, a reference to the earlier protection order, yet that protection came too late. For the murder, Sifiso Ndlovu was sentenced to life imprisonment, for kidnapping 10 years, and for malicious damage to property, burning the vehicle, 7 years. The judge ordered that the sentences run concurrently. After the verdict, Khulukazi's family expressed both grief and relief. Her father told news reporters, "We are grateful the court saw through his lies, but no sentence will bring back our daughter." The case reopened conversations across KwaZulu-Natal about gender-based violence, the epidemic often described as South Africa's second pandemic. Advocates for women's rights pointed to Khulukazi's story as another example of how warning signs, protection orders, separation threats often go unheeded until it is too late. In 2024, after nearly 4 years of waiting, Khulukazi's family finally received permission to hold her funeral. Her ashes were interred in her hometown, giving her loved ones a chance to say their goodbyes at last. Khulukazi Ndlovu's story is not just a headline from Phoenix. It is a mirror held up to society. It speaks of the fear too many women live with, even inside their own homes. It reveals how systems meant to protect them often move too slowly. And it reminds us that behind every statistic is a person, a daughter, a sister, a friend whose life mattered. The courtroom may have closed, the verdict may have been delivered. But the echoes of Khulukazi's final moments still haunt the quiet roads of Phoenix and the lonely hills of Molweni Cemetery, where her story first came to light. This is the story of Khulukazi Ndlovu, a woman whose courage to live became the reason she never returned home. If you found this story powerful, please like, share, and subscribe to Crime in SA for more real stories like this. Until next time, goodbye.